All right, let's talk about one of the most frustrating moments when you're learning security. It's that feeling you get after running an Nmap scan on a practice box, like Kioptrix, and then nothing. Today, we're going to turn that dead end into a clear, repeatable path to success.
Sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so. This quote just nails it. This is that moment, right? You're just staring at a handful of ports, feeling like you've slammed into a brick wall. It's a pain we've all felt. But trust me, the way out is a lot simpler than you think.
And that is the big mindset shift we have to make. Getting root on these labs isn't about some kind of next-level genius move or tackling an impossible target. Nope, it's all about having a disciplined, methodical process, and it all starts with that very first scan.
So, let's just sit with that feeling for a second. That sense of being totally and completely stuck right at the beginning of the whole process. You know, the source material talks about this one person who burned an entire weekend just trying harder on one Kioptrix box. 6 hours, all because they just accepted that first lazy scan as the absolute truth. It's so common, but it really highlights the most critical lesson here. Enumeration is everything. If you mess up here, that mistake just echoes through every single thing you do next.
Okay, so how do we fix this? We need to completely reframe the problem. We got to stop thinking it's about a lack of skill and start seeing it for what it really is, a lack of a clear, repeatable process.
I want you to think of Nmap as your X-ray machine. It's not powerful, but if you rush the scan and you get a fuzzy, blurry image, what happens next? Well, every single thing you try, every exploit you throw at it, it's just a wild guess. A clear scan gives you a clear map.
So what does a good scan actually do? Well, this slide gives you a simple framework. A good scan, a useful scan, has to answer 3 basic questions before you even think about an exploit. First, what's actually alive out there? Second, out of all the services it's running, which ones are worth our time? And third, and this is the big one, what are the specific version details that are practically screaming, I have a weakness? That's your new checklist.
All right, let's get practical. Let's build your playbook. We're going to cover 2 fundamental scans that, honestly, will probably find you 80% of what you need on a box like Kioptrix. No more guesswork. So scan trick number 1. This command right here, this is your new best friend. It's your go-to, your workhorse. Why? Because it's the perfect balance of speed and detail for that first look. SC runs the default safe scripts. SV is absolutely crucial. It grabs the service versions. O tries to guess the operating system. But the real pro move here, the one that'll save you later, is OA. That saves your output in all the formats, creating a permanent record. That's not just for your notes, it's so you can compare scans down the line and see exactly what changed after you did something.
And then there's this classic problem we have all been there. You know the machine is on, you can see it in your VM player, but Nmap comes back and says, host seems down. It's an incredibly common roadblock, and usually it's just because the host isn't answering a simple ping.
And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? The default scan, it trusts the ping response. If it doesn't get one, it just gives up. But in a lab where you know the machine is running, you can tell Nmap to trust you instead. By using -pn, you're telling it, hey, skip the ping check, I know it's there, and you go straight to scanning the ports. And bam, more often than not, there's the target you thought was missing.
Okay, so you've got the core playbook down. Now let's talk about a few techniques that separate a basic, everyday scan from one that's truly professional.
This is so important. Specificity is everything. Seeing Apache 2.x is interesting, I guess, but seeing Apache 2.0.52 running with PHP 5.1.6, that's not just a hint. That's a giant blinking neon sign pointing you right to the vulnerability. That's the string you can Google to find a real attack plan. And this little story just nails it, doesn't it? That one simple action, just copying and pasting the exact version string into his notes, half asleep, that was the key that unlocked the whole box the next day. It wasn't some stroke of genius, it was just good discipline.
And here are a couple more pro moves to keep in your back pocket. 1, don't ignore UDP. A full UDP scan takes forever, but a quick scan of just the top 25 or so ports can uncover some really interesting hidden services. And 2, remember that -OA flag we talked about? Use it. Run a scan before you get a foothold, then run another one after. Compare the files. That brand new port that just opened up, that's often your ticket to escalating your privileges.
All right, this next part, this is a step almost everyone skips, but it's where all the magic happens. This is how you take that wall of text from your Nmap scan and turn it into a clear, strategic plan to get root.
So let's just walk through this flow. It's not complicated, right? It's just a logical progression. You discover the IP. You run your baseline scan. You deepen the scan on anything that looks interesting. And then, and this is the crucial part, you pause. You group the services, and you prioritize your targets. Then, and only then, do you act. And after you act, what do? You rescan to see what changed. That's structure.
And here's the actual ritual that makes this whole thing work. It's super simple. Don't just stare at the list of ports. Group them into categories, like web stuff, file sharing, remote access. Then, physically circle the ones that look old or weird. For each of those, write down 2 or 3 concrete next steps. This little note-taking habit forces you to think strategically, and it will save you from wasting hours down pointless rabbit holes.
Okay, so why do we care? Why does all of this discipline actually matter? Let's connect these little practice habits to some real-world value.
Just look at this table. The skills you're grinding away at in your home lab for free. Things like disciplined enumeration, strategic planning, clear documentation. These are the exact same skills that businesses are paying professional consultants thousands of dollars a day for. Your practice time is a direct investment in a high-value career.
And once you have your process locked down, the next step is to automate it with a simple script. This is a total game changer. It frees you up from just babysitting a terminal and lets you spend your limited, precious practice time on the stuff that really matters, analysis and strategy.
So here's the bottom line, the big takeaway. What you're building here, it isn't just a way to root some practice box. You are building a personal asset. You're building a repeatable, professional process that compounds over time into a real, valuable, billable skill in the job market.
So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. The next time you fire up Nmap against a lab machine, is it going to be a hopeful guess, or is it going to be the first step in a deliberate, methodical plan? Because that choice, it makes all the difference.